Okay, we want to continue on the Thanksgiving quiz theme to see the roots of Thanksgiving in our country and why it was established. We discussed several things in part one that'd be good if you go and listen to. And we want to break this up into several videos because it's very lengthy. But the next question that we have is, why did the Pilgrims leave Europe? Now, among the early Pilgrims was a group of separatists who were members of a religious movement that broke from the Church of England during the 16th and 17th centuries. And in 1606, William Brewster led a group of separatists to, I assume it's pronounced Leyden, it's in the Netherlands, to escape religious persecution in England. Now, after living in Leyden for more than 10 years, some members of the group voted to immigrate to America. Now, the voyage was financed by a group of London investors who were promised produce from America in exchange for their assistance. But you notice the reason here of the why did they leave. It was because of the persecution of the Church of England. And, I don't know, especially, the persecution would have been more back then in the sense of governmental persecution. But see, the head of the Church of England is the king or the queen. It's not necessarily their person that's as their top pastor or archbishop, whatever they call them, but it's actually the king or the queen. And back then, like I said, the persecutions were a lot worse. But the Pilgrims, they wanted to be free of that control, of government control. And we can see that even in our own Constitution, to where in our First Amendment rights, the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion was so important that was why it was established here, to be able to have that freedom without the government influencing the people on how they wanted to worship the Lord. And it's strictly in the early intentions. This amendment, if you study out the details of much of the history, is that it was strictly dealing with the Christian faith. All other world religions were not considered to have the freedom of religion in the United States or in the new colonies or the new America at that time. And it's turned into that, but that's not what the intentions were. It was because of the Christian faith. Now, how did the Pilgrims immigrate to the New World? Well, September 16th in 1620, a group numbering 102 men, women, and children left Plymouth, England, and for America on the Mayflower, which was the name of their ship. Many have heard that; they're familiar with that. But in the generation today, in our schools, I wonder how many still are aware of that event. Having been blown off course from their intended landing in Virginia by a terrible storm, the Pilgrims landed at Cape Cod on November the 11th. On December 21st, they landed on the site of Plymouth Colony. While still on the ship, the Pilgrims signed what was called the Mayflower Compact. And we'll get into that next time, because that is really a foundation that was used to establish our U.S. Constitution. But we want to understand the why the Pilgrims left England. Because they wanted the freedom to worship the Lord Jesus Christ without government control, without the tyranny that was taking place through the government. And of course, we see that today, even from people complaining about certain things, and they want to take it to a governmental domination of how people can worship. But that's not what the foundation of this nation was about, and that's not what Thanksgiving was about. So let's keep our eyes on Jesus, and as always, be blessed in what you do for Him.